Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Old Charlestle. If you're a fan of coins or just a collector, you're in the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the Australia 50-cent coin from 1981. It might not be the most talked about coin, but believe me, it has an interesting history and some surprising value in certain conditions. So grab a seat and let's get started. Now, before we get into its value and rarity, let's take a look at the coin itself. First, a little bit of history. The 50-cent coin from Australia is known for its distinctive 12-sided shape. It's been in circulation for decades, and the 1981 version is no exception. The 50-cent coin was first introduced in 1969 to replace the old half-crown coin. It was designed by Stuart Devlin, and it's been a staple of Australian currency ever since. The 1981 version continues the iconic design that we've all come to recognize. As you can see, the obverse of the 1981 50-cent coin features the effigy of Queen Elizabeth II, as designed by Arnold McKim. This design was used on Australian coins from 1966 to 1984, so it's fairly common in terms of its general appearance. On the reverse, we have the Australian coat of arms, which has been a constant design element on the 50-cent coin since its inception. The emblem showcases Australia's two official animals, the kangaroo and the emu, standing on either side of a shield. It's a great representation of the country's natural heritage. Now, let's talk about the value. In most cases, the 1981 50-cent coin is not exactly rare. It was minted in large quantities, and like many circulated coins, its value isn't too high unless you've got a coin in pristine condition. On average, a well-worn 1981 50-cent coin is only worth its face value, 50 cents. But don't let that fool you. There's a catch. Some specific versions of this coin can be worth much more. Let's break it down. The main factor that will increase the value of the 1981 coin is its condition. If you happen to have a coin in uncirculated or proof-like condition, its value can go up significantly. Now, here's where things get interesting. While most 1981 50-cent coins are fairly common, there's one major factor that might make certain coins a bit more valuable. And that is the proof coin. Proof coins are specially minted for collectors. They're not intended for general circulation, and their design is much sharper, with a mirror-like finish that makes them stand out. In 1981, Australia issued proof sets that included the 50-cent coin, and these are worth significantly more than the regular circulation pieces. On the second-hand market, you might see proof versions of the 1981 50-cent coin valued at anywhere between $10 to $20 AUD, sometimes more if they come with the original packaging or are in mint condition. And here's a fun fact. The proof coins from 1981 were part of a series of Australian coat of arms designs that were issued to celebrate the country's heritage. They were sold as sets, so finding one can be a bit of a treasure hunt. So, if you've got an old 50-cent coin from 1981 sitting in a jar, it's worth taking a closer look. If it's in mint or proof condition, it might just be worth a little more than you think. Let's quickly talk about the rarity of the 1981 50-cent coin. Because it was minted in large numbers, it's not considered particularly rare. Around 20 million of them were produced. So, if you're hoping to cash in big, unfortunately, you're not going to hit the jackpot with just any 1981 50-cent coin. But what you're looking for is a coin with exceptional characteristics, whether that's a unique error or one that's been kept in perfect condition. Those types of coins are what might attract collectors and numismatists. So, how do you check if your 1981 50-cent coin could be worth more? The best thing to do is first assess its condition. Look for any wear, scratches, or marks. Coins that have been heavily circulated will generally not be worth more than face value. Check for any rare mint errors, such as double strikes, off-center minting, or unusual markings. These can add to a coin's collectability and potentially increase its value. So, to sum up, the 1981 50-cent coin from Australia is not one of the rarest coins in the world, but it definitely has some interesting value, especially if it's in mint or proof condition. If you're a collector, keep an eye out for those proof coins. They're worth the investment. Australia's 50-cent coin was first introduced in 1969. Before that, a 50-cent piece was not part of the currency system. The coin was created to replace the half-crown, which had a value of 2 shillings and 6 pence, or 30 cents, as part of Australia's transition from the old British-based imperial currency system to the new decimal currency system. This move was part of a broader shift in the Australian monetary system, where the nation adopted the Australian dollar, AUD, as the official currency. The 50-cent coin became a significant part of this transition, with a 12-sided shape, which made it unique compared to other coins in circulation. The design of the 50-cent coin was carefully chosen to reflect Australian heritage and identity. The obverse front of the coin features a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, as designed by the British artist Arnold Machin. This effigy of the Queen was used on Australian coins from 1966 to 1984, so it's common across multiple years of Australian coinage from that era. The reverse back of the coin features the Australian coat of arms, a symbol of the country's national identity. The design shows a kangaroo and emu standing on either side of a shield, which represents the Commonwealth of Australia. This design was used on the 50-cent coin continuously from 1969 until 1984, and it remains a classic symbol of Australian currency. The 1981 50-cent coin is part of the series minted in the early 1980s. Like other 50-cent coins of its era, it was produced in large quantities for general circulation. In 1981, the coin was primarily used for everyday transactions and remained widely accessible. It also continued the pattern of circulating in a 12-sided form, which made it easily recognizable and popular with Australians. While millions of these coins were minted and circulated, 1981 does not mark any significant changes in the design or minting process, making this year's coins common compared to some of the rarer years in Australian coin history. In 1981, around 20 million 50-cent coins were minted. This means that the coin was widely circulated in Australia, and the supply of 1981 50-cent coins was large. For a coin to become rare or valuable, it often needs to be minted in smaller quantities, or it must have unique characteristics, like minting errors or being in exceptional condition. Due to the high mintage in 1981, these coins are not considered rare, but they continue to be a regular part of Australia's numismatic history. Like many other coins, special proof editions were created for collectors. These proof coins were struck with higher precision and were given a mirrored finish that made them stand out from circulation coins. They were sold in limited numbers and remain more valuable than regular coins from 1981. Proof coins of the 1981 50-cent piece were part of larger proof sets issued by the Royal Australian Mint, and they continue to be highly sought after by collectors today. These coins are more valuable than their circulating counterparts, especially if kept in mint condition and accompanied by their original packaging. The 50-cent coin continues to be a part of Australian currency today, though the design has undergone various changes. The coin is still used in daily transactions, albeit less frequently than other denominations, due to inflation and the general tendency to use notes for larger amounts. However, coins like the 1981 50-cent piece remain an important part of the history of Australia's coinage. And summary, the 1981 Australian 50-cent coin represents a key moment in Australia's evolving currency system. Its historical significance comes from being a part of the broader transition to the decimal system and its connection to national symbols of Australia, like the coat of arms. Though not rare by itself, it remains an important coin in Australia's numismatic history, particularly for collectors interested in proof versions or coins in exceptional condition. The condition of a coin is crucial in determining its collector value. Coins are graded based on how much wear and tear they have received during circulation. Below are the most common grading levels, not made for circulation. High-quality mirror finish with frosted details. Struck multiple times for sharp definition. Value ***, $15.00, $25.00 AUD, often part of Royal Australian Mint proof sets. Collectability ***, premium pieces for serious collectors. Rarity and preservation play a major role. Look for sharpness in the kangaroo and emu feathers, queen's hair details, and clear lettering to avoid coins with scratches, dents, corrosion, or heavy discoloration. Coin in a protective capsule or sleeve likely retains higher value. Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating coin from the land down under. The Australia 20-cent coin from 1976. How rare is it? How much is it worth today? Let's find out. The 20-cent coin is one of the most iconic decimal coins in Australia. Introduced in 1966 when Australia shifted from pounds to dollars, it replaced the florin. The 1976 20-cent coin features a platypus, one of Australia's unique animals, on its reverse side. This amazing design was crafted by the talented Stuart Devlin, the same man who designed many other Australian coins. On the obverse, We have the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This side of the coin was standard for Australian currency from 1966 until 1984. The 1976 version was made from copper nickel. That's 75% copper and 25% nickel, giving it durability and that distinct silver shine. Now let's talk numbers. In 1976, around 47.9 million 20-cent coins were minted. That's a lot. So most 1976 coins are not considered rare in general circulation. But, listen closely, condition matters. Some high-grade coins can be surprisingly valuable. Circulated coins are still commonly found across Australia, especially in change. However, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is much more challenging. So what's the 1976 20-cent coin worth today? In circulated condition, it's typically worth around $0.20 to $0.50 AUD. Basically, it's face value or just a bit more for collectors who want to complete a year set in uncirculated condition. The price can go up to $5 to $15 AUD, depending on how clean, shiny, and sharp the coin is. For a coin graded by professionals, like MS65 or higher, you might be looking at $30 or more on online auctions and collector sites. Rare errors can also increase value. Off-center strikes ***, die cracks ***, cud marks ***. These types of errors are sought after and could make your coin worth $50 to even $100 AUD, depending on severity and demand. Here are some quick tips if you want to collect or sell the 1976 20-cent coin. Store your coin in a non-PVC flip or coin capsule to avoid tarnish. Use a soft cotton cloth or gloves when handling it. Never clean your coin aggressively. That can ruin its value. If you think you've got an error coin, get it professionally graded. Collectors love coins with historical relevance and clean design, and the 20-cent coin is both beautiful and rich in Aussie heritage. So, that's everything you need to know about the 1976 Australian 20-cent coin. Whether you're a serious collector or just curious about the change in your pocket, this coin is a fun piece of history. The 20-cent coin is an important part of Australia's decimal currency system, which was introduced on February 14, 1966. This was the day Australia officially transitioned from pounds, shillings, and pence to a new decimal system based on dollars and cents. The 20-cent coin replaced the older florin, which was worth 2 shillings. Although they were similar in size and weight, the 20-cent coin had a fresh modern look and represented a new era in Australian currency. The reverse design of the coin, showing a swimming platypus, was created by Stuart Devlin, who served as the official goldsmith and jeweler to Queen Elizabeth II. The platypus was chosen to highlight the unique wildlife of Australia, and the fluid lines around it suggest movement through water, making it both artistic and symbolic. On the obverse, head side, we see the second portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, sculpted by Arnold Machin. This portrait was used on Australian coins from 1966 to 1984, and it portrays the Queen wearing a tiara. In 1976, the 20-cent coin was struck at the Royal Australian Mint in Canberra. A total of 47,924,000 coins were minted that year. Making it a regular issue, not particularly rare. The coin was made from copper nickel, 75% copper and 25% nickel, and has a reeded, grooved edge, weighs 11.31 grams, has a diameter of 28.52 mm, and a thickness of about 2 mm. The year 1976 was a significant one in Australian history. It was the first full year of Malcolm Fraser's prime ministership, after he succeeded Gough Whitlam in 1975. Australia was modernizing quickly, and the currency system was fully embedded across the nation. The decimal coins had already become part of everyday life, and new generations were growing up using cents and dollars instead of shillings and pounds. The 1976 20-cent coin reflects this mature phase of Australia's decimal currency journey, solid, trusted, and widely circulated. Though it is not considered rare, the 1976 20-cent coin holds value for collectors today as part of the broader historical narrative of Australian coinage. It remains a favorite due to its large size and clean design, its long circulation history, its representation of Australia's native wildlife. It continues to circulate today, although in smaller numbers, as more modern coins and electronic transactions dominate the economy. The value of your 1976 20-cent coin depends heavily on its condition or grade. Here's how to recognize the different conditions. Today, we're diving into the fascinating history and value of the 1972 Australian 10-cent coin. Is it just pocket change, or something more? The Australian 10-cent coin has been in circulation since 1966, when Australia switched from the British pound system to decimal currency. The 10-cent coin replaced the old shilling and became a common part of everyday transactions. But what makes the 1972 version special? Let's take a closer look. Let's start with the design. The reverse side of the 10-cent coin features the beautiful image of a superb lyrebird, designed by Stuart Devlin, who was the official goldsmith and jeweler to the Queen. The intricate tail feathers of the lyrebird stretch out with amazing detail. A true work of art. On the obverse side, you'll see a portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait was used on Australian coins from 1966 to 1984. In 1972, the Royal Australian Mint produced 81.1 million 10-cent coins. That might sound like a lot. And yes, it means the 1972 coin is not rare in terms of mintage. However, the value of a coin isn't only based on quantity. Condition, collector demand, and minting errors can all increase its value. Now, the big question, how much is a 1972 Australian 10-cent coin worth today? If your coin is in circulated condition, meaning it has wear and tear from everyday use, its value is usually around 10 to 30 cents, basically face value. However, if your coin is in uncirculated condition or mint state, with no wear and strong luster, it could be worth more. A well-preserved 1972 10-cent coin in mint state, MS-60 to MS-65, can fetch $2 to $10 AUD, depending on the market and the buyer. And here's the bonus. If your coin has a minting error such as off-center strike, doubling, or clipped planchet, the value can go much higher, even up to $50 or more, depending on the type and visibility of the error. Want to know if your 1972 10-cent coin is valuable? Here are some quick tips. Look for sharp details, especially on the lyrebird's feathers. Avoid coins with scratches, corrosion, or dents. Use a magnifying glass to check for errors or doubling. Store your valuable coins in acid-free holders to preserve their condition. Did you know? Despite being over 50 years old, the 1972 Australian 10-cent coin is still legal tender in Australia today. So technically, you could still use it at the store, but for collectors, it's worth a second look. Oh, next time you're digging through old change or your grandparents' coin jar, keep an eye out for this little silver treasure. You might just find a coin that's worth more than its face value. To understand the 1972 Australian 10-cent coin, we need to go back a few years to 1966, when Australia made a huge leap, switching from the pound-shilling-pence system to a new decimal currency. It was one of the most significant changes in the country's economic history. The 10-cent coin was introduced as part of this transformation, replacing the shilling and carrying over its silver-like appearance and similar size. The coin was made from copper-nickel, a durable mix of copper and nickel, perfect for daily USE. By 1972, Australia was growing rapidly, socially, politically, and economically. The Vietnam War, changes in immigration policies, and growing national identity were shaping a modern Australia. During this period of transition, everyday coins like the 10-cent piece became not only functional but symbolic of a young and evolving nation. The 1972 coin continued the tradition of high-quality design and minting. While it wasn't a rare year in terms of production numbers, it still reflects the craftsmanship and currency stability that marked Australia's post-decimal years. When it comes to coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin's value is strongly influenced by how well it has been preserved over time. Let's break down the most common condition categories for the 1972 Australian 10-cent coin. These are coins that have been used in everyday transactions. They usually show wear on the high points, like the lyrebird's feathers or the Queen's hair. Value: around 10 to 30 cents, basically face value. These coins show minor wear but still have sharp detail. The surface might have light scratches but no serious damage. These can be worth up to $1 AUD if in good shape. These are coins that were never used. They still have their original shine, luster, and full detail. In mint state grades like MS-60 to MS-65, these coins can sell for $2 to $10 AUD or more, especially if they are nearly flawless. Although not common for the 1972 10-cent in particular, some collectors may have proof sets where the coin has a mirror-like finish and was specially struck. These can be worth even more, depending on rarity and demand. Go check your coin's condition at home, hold it under a bright light, or use a magnifying glass. Look closely at the Queen's portrait, rim, and lyrebird details. These are the first areas to show wear.